Yamato matchup can actually be a really easy one if you know what to look out for. Those 4K counters have a lot of high value in the early game, especially when you want to counter out, and in the mid to late game, you just don't want to overcommit and then get got by Hody Jones tapping down your Dawn and your blocker. So you kind of play it in the middle, and generally you can get there, especially if you take a bunch of triggers late, draw yourself out, and the game plan plays itself. But I don't want to give too much away. Enjoy the games that are being played at Nerdvana Games here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, 1 o'clock on Saturdays, usually where you want to find me if you want to play some games. But other than that, my alt art leader is made by Bonney, OPTCG, link down below on their Twitter. If you wanted this specific Nami altar or any other leader, hit them up for their sweet art. Now, you can also use the code MILLME at Nerdvana Games if you wanted to purchase any of your TCG needs. But other than that, enjoy the games and let's beat some Yamato. Hopping into this game, we start off with 1 Dawn and then play out our Kaya. Again, my apologies on the camera here. I didn't realize it shifted out of focus, but I mean, y'all don't really need to see my Dawn that much. Hopefully I can remember to keep out my hands here. So we're going to drop an Apis and a Hanger early. Hanger's just one of those cards where generally you're just using it for a counter out or just kind of like you're not really digging for it unless you know that card on top. So they go to 2 Dawn. We did start off on the play here, but I'm happy to do that with a Kaya. In this case, I know I have myself a Gavel, and that's really what I want to hold up for. I have some counters, I have some options, and that's really what I want to make sure I'm going to, especially against their board. Now they're going to swing just 5k here, which I'm okay with, and then they can build their board out from there. So I'm happy to just spot it here and set up the top portion of my deck. Now I see some counters that I like. Honestly, it's not that bad with that Snake Dance, so I'm gonna put that at the bottom because honestly, even though they're good now, I still need some forward movement that works better with my Dawn. I need some low cost stuff like a rubber band and whatnot. So they end up cheating out a little 5 cost here, and then now going to 5 Dawn, I am able to kind of peel off if I want to here, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about because how proactive do I want to be? I mean, they're only going to 6 Dawn. They're not, you know, playing out Hody, so I'm like, okay, this is actually a good opportunity for me to get a blocker down and get that in front of something and then continue to develop from there. So I can hold up 1 Dawn and still keep up that Gavel if I want to. So that way I know, again, draw 2, discard 2, keep that Gavel up, move through my deck. I want to be making these moves early. We finally are able to get rid of that Impel down and the extra Margaret that we just drew. Past the turn from there, we have ourselves a blocker and our Gavel after that. If they want to tap down our stuffs, they can. They got to commit some Dawn to that, in which case I'll take 1 hit from the 5 cost and then I'll just counter out of the kind of leader attack from there. So let's see how they end up using their 6 Dawn that they have available to them, and then they can kind of take it from there. Shout out to the special Dawn over there. They swing 8k. I will definitely throw the blocker in front of that, and then they will swing 9 with their leader here. I will take that, no trigger. Kaya goes to hand, noting that this is actually an in-between rounds type of game, so we do end up kind of playing a little bit quicker. I don't bother like bluffing my hand. So at this point, I'm going to peel off, have some cards, I'm going to draw out. Now I did notably like kind of I didn't orient that one right. I didn't think about my Dawn. I should have actually like countered out of that attack there. Like I had like the Dawn for it and then maybe like block out, but regardless though, we are Gucci here. Now opponent untaps to 8. Now this is where I'm expecting that Hody Jones to come down. So Hody Jones means they tap down 2 of my Dawn. That really kind of pressures me, but if you look at my hand here, actually a fair amount of 2k counters, so it's not that bad, and that's exactly what's happening here. Hody comes down, taps down 2 of my Dawn. A little bit of sad life, but hey, you know, they take some damage. You know, maybe Battle Nami can be the one for me, the strategy for me. So I take the kind of 9 here, and then at this point, this is where I want to start kind of countering out of things here. So I believe that's an 8k swing that's coming at me. Or yeah, wait, how did they do this? Actually, now that I'm thinking about this, they're at 8 Dawn. Whatever, let them think about it. It's probably because they hit me once. Yeah, oh, you know what, I'm at 3 Dawn. What am I saying? I'm at 3 Dawn, the Yamato leader. So I'm gonna kind of Snake Dance, bounce that, and then kind of counter out through there. And then if they want to attack 5, I have the other 2k counter from there. Yeah, there you go, 2k counter, back to our turn. Hopefully they don't Hody us back to back here, because that's where things can get a little bit dicey. Now we're at 9 Dawn here, not an ideal amount of Dawn. Sanji's peel off comes out, and that's really all I want to do. I just really 1 or 2 proactive things a turn, and I don't really want to be spending more than like 4 Dawn max at this point, right? Because you got to make sure that if you're going to get Hody turn after turn, I mean, if they're just going to commit a bunch of Dawn onto their leader, then you got to be able to counter out of something like that, because you don't want to really be taking the double attack hits anytime early. I don't believe you do, because generally speaking, you just want to have those resources for later. So there you go. We get Hodied out here. And honestly, like, this sort of things are tough. Like, I always kind of talk about this right now with the Kuja Pirates build. A lot of your Dawn gets committed to 2k events, not a lot of 1ks or 1k actions happen. So we are going to Whitesnake first, draw a card, and then this should allow us to then gavel pitch the Margaret, mill over 2 cards there. Snake Dance Kaya going is not a great thing, but we're automatically at that kind of 6k. So kind of thinking about that from the leader perspective here. So they're going to swing in with a raw swing. Well, I shouldn't say raw swing 6. They attach a Dawn. I'm going to counter out with the 2k there. And now we have 2 more attacks to deal with here. So they're going to use Yamato leader ability, attach 2 Dawn to the 7k. That is a 9k swing. All I need to do is counter out. And the choice here is to take the hit. Impel down hits me, which is great. Draw 2 cards. And then now a 9k swing comes at me. Now I do manage to have that kind of gavel pitch, which is great. Gavel pitch up to 10, mill over 2 cards. 2 cards that I actually honestly wouldn't mind having there. Losing the Love Mellow and the Snake Dance there. White Snake goes to kind of thing there. I go up to 10 Dawn. And at this point, we gotta find some options here. So Gloriosa is gonna come down and find myself a 2k counter here. So unfortunately, it isn't a great rearrange, but we're gonna keep the Gloriosa at the bottom if we manage to get there. You don't want to put it at the top because there's no like hit for it. We're gonna Kaya, draw 2, and we are going to try and keep those mellows with us, right? But we also have to note that, like, yeah, we probably want to Kaya again. So we're going to get rid of the rubber band and the 2k counter. We are going to Kaya again because, like, yo, they play 2 Hodies here. I'm expecting, like, ain't no way I'm getting Hodied again. Now this is probably where my zealousness like got the best of me, because now I got to drop to 2k and the Spada, and I drew into a peel off, which honestly I can't really use. I can't really use the peel off at this point. Like, look at my deck, it's getting low. I understand, but we need to make sure that we have enough Dawn to really counter out. I believe this counts to about 14 cards, if I remember correctly. Obviously, I could sit here and count with myself, but no. That is for someone else. That is for someone else to do. Let me know where we're at in terms of that Dawn. But right now, we have 7 Dawn up, which is great. We do have our Love Mellows enabled here, so we are going to be able to just kind of counter out that way, draw some cards. We're going to be able to counter out in an 9k swing pretty easy here. So let's see what the kind of tides have in turn for us here. So thankfully 6k attack, kind of mill over a peel. Oh god, that hurts. Whenever I mill over a peel off in situations like this, like low resources, especially at the end of the game, it always hurts. So they're gonna swing in for 2 there, and I'm going to Love Mellow, draw a card. So that's their 9k, and then I'm going to White Snake. Nice, draw a card. Now these are those opportune moments right here. And I'm going to keep the White Snake on there. I know a lot of you have kind of requested that just for kind of visual representation, so I'm more than happy to oblige there. So I'm going to take this hit where they attach 2 Dawn, I believe. So I don't really want to kind of counter out of that. Then they're going to attack me for 9 again. Or actually, no, it was a 9k swing. And then at this point, I know that I'm able to counter out of this. So I'm going to be able to bounce the Kaya, but I'm really thinking about what they have next, because they have 5 Dawn up, and I'm thinking Rush Ace is coming at me, or some type of rush effect. Like, why aren't they over committing to more Dawn going 10 or 11? Something Rush Ace is coming at me. So how do I counter out of this? I can counter out a 9. Do I take this hit and just be aware of Rush Ace? Like, how do I use my resources to my advantage here? And it might just be bounce the Kaya. So I'm going to Snake Dance. I'm going to bounce the Kaya, and that'll counter out of that. And exactly as kind of planned here, Rush Ace comes at me, and Rush Ace swings. They're at 2 or less life. They attach the 2 Dawn to it, and then I take the life. Impel down kind of hits me there at the end, and that's really, I mean, yo, when your draw triggers be hitting you like this, how are you gonna lose? They're checking how much cards I have, and I'm like, yo, let me start off with some magic here. We're gonna peel off. We're gonna draw ourselves out here. We are then going to Kaya. As you remember, that is the Kaya that we bounced. We are going to drop 2 cards here. It's going to be the exact 2 cards I drew, the Spada and the Impel down. We have exactly 4 cards, and I'm like, yeah, I got a bunch of Dawn. I think this will work. So the problem is here, folks, if you look at the way the math is mathing right now, it's actually not that great. It's not that great. So we know that we have a gavel in there. There should be 1 or 2 gavels in there if y'all have been paying attention. And I don't believe I bottom decked too many. I think I bottom decked one, so I completely forgot where it was in the stack. It should be, the last card should be like Gloriosa, and then there's a gavel in this stack. So I'm thinking like, okay, how do I mill this? How do I draw this? Because if I can find that gavel, then I win this game. So that's what I really need to enable. What's the optimal way to find that gavel? Because otherwise the math in my hand is not mathing. There's too many 2-don plays. So I need to go like white snake into like redraw on mellow, and that should optimize my chances here. But if only I actually paid attention. But again, this was like an in-between rounds type of game. You're kind of playing it quick. There's the gavel. It ends up being that kind of top card, which I'm happy I rearranged it that way so much earlier here. And then now I kind of represent my cards here. I was like, okay, gavel pitch, kind of rubber band there. GG's. Till next time, Yamato, not that bad.